Hi guys, welcome back. Today I thought it would be fun to do a little late mid-year check-in. When I originally made my goals back around the New Year time, I didn't actually do it the traditional way this year. Instead of setting out 5, 10, or more potentially unrealistic goals, I wanted to set out a word for the year or an intention for the year. So back in January, I went ahead and wrote in my planner just a list of things that I wanted to explore, try out, learn about myself, so on and so forth. So I thought it'd be fun to not only hold myself accountable, but also to share with you my experience doing a whole word of the year method opposed to making New Year's resolutions. So the very first thing that I had on my list of things for the year to explore was YouTube, you guys. And so I'm very proud of myself to say that since starting back in, I think, April, I want to say, I need to check the day of my first video. But since starting YouTube, I've posted almost 70 or more videos at this time. That's in part because I did want to try to post every single day of August, and I think it's currently the 26th, and there's 26 videos up, so I'm pretty proud of that. And so, regardless of whether or not this goes anywhere with YouTube, I get monetized, this becomes a side income for me. It's just been a fun hobby, and it's something that I'm proud of myself for finally going after literally a decade of wanting to start YouTube. Another thing that I wanted to try this year was to try out at least 5 new ethnic cuisines, just overall different culinary styles and whatnot. And so since we've moved down here, we've been able to try Laotian food and Korean barbecue. I don't think that I have any others to add to that list right now. But here's hoping we get to those by the end of the year. So that leaves 3 more cuisines to hopefully go try. Another thing that I put on here is I wanted to just try 5 new hobbies to see what I enjoyed. And so I can't say I've done too much so far. All I've done is just try art. If you want to break it up, you can. Tried painting, watercoloring, and I would say cooking. Baking is kind of a new hobby, specifically more so like the bread making side of things. I'm way late to that, I'm well aware, but been having fun with it regardless. I've been making yeast bread for a long time, but I've recently tried to make sourdough bread. It's kind of a rocky start, but we'll just keep seeing how it goes. The other thing that I wanted to try out was at least 5 different forms of exercise. For most of my life I played soccer, and so that was just a lot of high intensity training, running, and just overall soccer exercises and goalie training for me. And so since then I've never actually really prioritized fitness in any way that's new to me. So this year I've tried out running, and not just sprints, but like long form running in the form of like 3, 4, 5 miles. I've tried out yoga, Pilates. I think that's it for right now. So I guess we have 2 more to work on. Another big thing for me since moving into this house, it is basically a blank canvas, white walls, no character. It is a new build, which is super duper nice, don't get me wrong, but I think I realized that I like the charm of a little bit of flaws, or just shows that there's some history in the house. And so right now we're in the process of trying to add little touches here and there. I think we're going to try and add crown molding here soon, maybe some board and batten in the house. We'll see what we get up to, but I also just wanted to figure out what is my home decor style. I think that with each home you kind of lend yourself to whatever the home looks like. And since this one really is such a blank canvas, I guess you could naturally go more modern with it if you want to, but really I think it's just really a blank canvas to try out whatever you want. And so I think I'm trying to figure out kind of how to put, I guess, what is more so like a vintage, old world charm, nature-y kind of thing into a very stark white modern house with very little details or coziness to it innately built into it. But I will say, I feel like I've kind of learned more so what I've liked so far, and that is more of that natural aesthetic. I wanted to try out colors, and I think that I'm kind of a fan, but only in small doses, so we'll see. I went out of my comfort zone and bought some colorful curtains, which maybe not seem like a big deal to a lot of you guys, but to me, it's something that pushes me out of my comfort zone, and it's kind of fun to see how I feel with it. Okay, so something else that I wanted to try this year was just paring down on what we have and kind of just get down to not the bare essentials, but just the least amount of things that we can live with that still makes us happy and makes our home feel cozy. And so I kind of wanted to try out minimalism this year, and I wouldn't call us full-blown minimalist or anything, but I just wanted to see how little we could live with and be happy, or how little that we could buy, because I feel like my husband and I are naturally more inclined to experiences. However, it is so nice to have like personal touches here and there. I mean, I like artwork on the walls. Some people are perfectly happy with stark white walls, but regardless, we just wanted to see what we could be happy with, and I think that we've done a good job of paring down, and I think that we're going to continue to do so. So right now it's kind of just a work in progress, but we have tried that and I'm very proud of us for doing so. Something else that I wanted to try was to post a blog a week this year consistently. I will admit I failed on this. I was doing really good up until we left for our cruise to Alaska back in May. And since then it's kind of just been a hot mess, quite frankly. So usually I'll sit down and write all the blog posts for the month on 1 or 2 days and then schedule them to upload. But doing this and pushing myself with YouTube has kind of become my priority at the moment, and I've since let that fall to the wayside. Something else that I told myself I was going to do when we moved down here to Georgia was to work on the book idea that I've had in my head for a very long time. And I know that you guys don't see any of this on the back end, but I'm proud that I've written, I think, a few chapters at this point. I probably have to go double check exactly what it is, because it's more of a cookbook kind of situation. So with that being said, that's kind of my secret little project, and my goal is to get a rough draft done by the end of the year. That may be pushing myself because I keep testing out new recipes and scratching them and then starting all over again. So we'll see where we get with that one. Something else that I wanted to get back into was reading. Back in my middle school and high school days, I was a voracious reader. I would sometimes read a book in one sitting, and I was very quick at it, thoroughly loved it. Basically had my own personal library of books in my bedroom. My family jokingly said that if any room in the house was going to just fall straight through, it would be mine because of all the books in my closets. But anyways, I wanted to get back into reading. My family member, or my mother-in-law, so kindly gifted me a Kindle for Christmas, which has made it so much easier to travel with books. And honestly, just throw it in your work bag too for whenever you have downtime in transit or just on your lunch break or whatever it may be. But I have loved it. The one thing I do want to do though is push myself to try new genres. I've kind of stepped into historical fiction, which is new for me. But I also want to try maybe more like thrillers, not necessarily horror, but I'm not usually a thriller or suspense kind of person, and I just want to kind of dip my toes in and see how I feel about that. Something else that I've been slowly working on, and even more so now lately, is I want to figure out kind of what my personal style is for how I dress. For the longest time, I was a tomboy growing up, hated dresses, in part because nothing fit. I feel like I'm kind of going back through that phase again. I'm not necessarily being a tomboy, but nothing that I own right now is fitting me. Legit, my pants from this spring that I bought don't fit me now. So I guess my hips or something's continuing to grow. And with that, half the clothes I have, I'm slowly getting rid of. It's kind of a blessing in disguise because honestly, I have had a hard time paring down clothes to some degree because I was afraid that I wasn't either going to grow into some clothes or that I would go back down in sizes or whatever it may be. And so I was hesitant to get rid of certain things. But at this point in time, it's kind of evident that I will never be the size that I was again before because my bone structure has changed, which has made it so much easier to just get rid of clothes that no longer fit, especially things like jeans and stuff like that. There's no way you're squeezing into that. And one of the last things that I wanted to explore and just delve deeper was my faith. I was raised in a Christian household. I wouldn't say that we were Creasters where you just go on Christmas and Easter, but definitely when I was really young, it wasn't necessarily something that was a regular occasion. With time and obviously with the sports that I played, it became less and less because we just weren't in town on the weekends for the most part. Obviously when we were, we usually made an effort to go, but I don't feel like I was ever devout in my faith. I'd never read the Bible fully or really read much of the Bible at all of my own choosing. And so last year I set out to read the whole Bible in the course of a year, which I did and I think made a huge impact on my faith, but I still think that I have so much to learn and that I will continue to have so much to learn, but that I'm continuing to just grow in my walk with Christ at this time. And I think I'm better for it. The community that I have around me is completely different than what I grew up in, and I think that having other people that are walking with Christ has made me a better person, has challenged me in my faith, and I hope it continues to do so. So with that said, that's kind of my mid-year check-in. I think the things that I need to work on that I've kind of touched on so far is I need to try out some more cuisines. I mean, that one would probably be my favorite one to go do. I need to try out a few more forms of exercise. I had a list at one point, I'm not sure where that went, but I will pop it up here of things that I still feel like would be fun to try exercise-wise. And then everything else is kind of just something to continue to work on progress-wise. It's not necessarily just a one-off and check it that you're done. So I think that by having a theme or the word for a year has allowed me to just broaden what I want, but also not be so hard on myself when things don't necessarily work out. Like, let's say you're going to run every day or go to the gym every day that year. The odds that you're going to do that are pretty much just stacked against you from the beginning, because January you does not know what even February you is going to go through, what your life's going to look like, much less December you a whole year later. And so I think it's better to, at least now having done this, I think it's better to just set your intention for the year and the word for the year and just go from there, because it's kind of given me so much ease and peace of mind to know that I can change what I'm doing, but it's still going to be for the betterment of me, and there's no guilt attached, or at least I don't find that there's any guilt attached. And so if you've also tried a word or theme or intention for the year, please let me know down below. I would love to know your experience and if you kind of have the same thoughts about it as I do. But otherwise, I'm gonna go head out. We have some appointments we gotta go get to, and thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.